Welcome back, coin lovers and coin enthusiasts. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. coins to uncover the top 6 most expensive and most valuable Abraham Lincoln Memorial 1-cent wheat penny old coins. These aren't just ordinary pennies. They're miniature treasures packed with history, rarity, and incredible value. Stick around as we reveal the stories, unique features, and market worth behind these legendary cents. If you've ever wondered about the hidden wealth in your change, or dreamed of finding a numismatic treasure tucked away in an old coin jar, you're in the right place. Let's get started. First up imagine in your hands a humble 1-cent coin from 1939, struck in Philadelphia, no mint mark, worn and scarred by time, yet still holding a magnetic attraction to numismatists. Though it may dwell in the lowest grades, its lineage within the Lincoln Wheat Cent series imparts a powerful allure. Collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike find themselves drawn to such pieces. A surviving relic at the bottom of a drawer can whisper of eras past, of minting presses humming in Philadelphia, and of the long journey to reach our modern day. Even in very dirty and damaged condition, a 1939 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny remains an object of desire, a prized treasure for those who cherish the tangibility of history. To understand its mystique, we must travel back to 1939, a time when Franklin D. Roosevelt was president, and the Great Depression's aftershocks were still being felt across America. The Lincoln cent design, launched in 1909, had already earned its place in the heart of U.S. coinage, replacing the Indian head cent and commemorating the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The 1939 issue without a mint mark was minted in Philadelphia, following the tradition that coins produced at Philadelphia carry no P mint mark, a practice that would change only much later. That year, the Philadelphia plant struck about 316,466,000 of these cents. This coin, humble in face value, stands as a tangible connection to a mid-20th century America, to pewter schoolrooms, to interstate circuits burgeoning, and to the everyday pocket change passing through countless hands. In that sense, even the most degraded 1939 no-mint mark penny speaks to social, economic, and cultural threads of its time. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny is classic and deeply symbolic. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's bust based on Victor David Brenner's design faces right, flanked by the motto, "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to his left, and the date 1939 just under his chin. The reverse features 2 stylized wheat stalks flanking the central text, 1 cent/United States of America, and EPLURIBUS UNUM near the rim. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a typical bronze alloy for its era. Its diameter is 19.05, and its weight, when freshly minted, was about 3.11 grams. In well-preserved specimens, the relief is crisp and the surfaces may carry a warm reddish or brown patina, making them visually appealing. Some rare varieties or errors, e.g. doubling, L on rim, strike-through marks, add extra desirability. Now here is where the drama intensifies. While the Philadelphia 1939 no-mint version is far from a scarce date in strong condition, the survival rate of very clean, high-grade, error-free specimens is much more limited. Moreover, most coins have circulated, been handled, cleaned, or damaged over decades. A 1939 cent in very dirty, damaged condition, scratches, corrosion, clipped rims, heavy wear, environmental pitting, is extremely common in circulation, and thus not rare in raw quantity, but its appeal to serious collectors is hampered. The rarity in this case comes not from the date itself, but from finding diagnostic features or attractive original surfaces beneath the grime, and from the possibility that an error or variety, e.g. a strike-through, doubling, or a letter on rim anomaly, might survive despite the damage. Also, since the mintages were high, the visual and condition extremes draw narrow interest, making those better preserved specimens correspondingly more desirable. In strong, well-graded condition, e.g. UNC, MS states, or certified pieces with original coloration, the 1939 no mint mark penny can command significant premiums. According to price guides, an MS-67 RD red example has fetched as much as $14,000 at auctions. Typical values in uncirculated grades are in the tens to low hundreds of dollars for more modest grades. For example, MS-65 may range from $28 to $165 in average market listings. Meanwhile, in very dirty, heavily damaged condition, the coin's value collapses toward mere cents, sometimes just a few dollars, essentially reflecting its metal content plus a slight numismatic premium, often under $1 to $5 or maybe $10. But if a hidden error or variety lurks, even a battered coin may surprise. For instance, double die features, strike-throughs, or a misplaced L on rim, variety might add hundreds to a few $1,000s to its value, depending on visibility. Hence, while a pristine 1939 no mint mark could reach the upper echelons of the series, one in damaged state is seldom prized, unless it harbors a rare anomaly that can be authenticated and graded. If you or another collector encounters a very dirty or damaged 1939 no mint mark penny, approach it as potential treasure with caution and patience. First, don't attempt aggressive cleaning. That often destroys detail and value. Use gentle methods, soft brush, distilled water, only if necessary to reveal mint details. Next, use magnification to search for error clues, doubling on liberty or in God we trust, anomalies like L on rim, off-center strikes, die cracks, or strike-throughs. Submit promising candidates to reputable graders, e.g. PCGS, NGC, for authentication and encapsulation. Always buy from trusted dealers or reputable auction houses with solid return policies and provenance. Store the coin in inert holders, mylar flips, acrylic capsules away from heat, humidity, and contaminants. Finally, engage with numismatic communities, attend shows, and study auction records. Those are your windows into hidden values and market trends. Sometimes a battered coin quietly reveals a gem worth far more than at first appears. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint mark, even in very dirty or damaged condition, remains a captivating relic of American numismatic heritage. It blends history, artistry, and latent mystery, a humble cent that saw countless transactions, survived storms of handling, yet still breathes the echo of its 1939 origin. Though its value in poor condition may often be modest, its potential to surprise, for a discerning collector or restorer, imbues it with enduring allure. In the right context, it can be a prized treasure, a tangible connection to the past, and a lasting investment in the stories coins tell. If your collection lacks one, even in flawed form, this 1939 no mint mark wheat penny is absolutely worth chasing. If only for the thrill that somewhere beneath the grime, treasure might wait. Next up, in the 1940 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny exudes a rugged authenticity that can captivate die-hard collectors. It is not a showpiece, but rather a survivor coin, a tangible relic of daily circulation, abused by decades of handling, oxidation, and neglect. For many collectors, such a penny is a kind of time capsule, humble in value yet rich in story. While the flashy, high-grade specimens fetch the lion's share of attention, even a dilapidated example has its place, especially to those who appreciate the full arc of a coin's life. In niche circles, acquiring one in such damaged condition can be a modest thrill, especially if it carries a scarce variety or error lurking beneath the grime. The 1940 Lincoln wheat cent, minted without a mint mark at Philadelphia, was part of the long-running Lincoln cent wheat reverse series that began in 1909. The absence of a mint mark signifies production at the Philadelphia Mint, which that year struck a staggering 586,810,000 pieces. This was a period when the U.S. was slowly recovering from the Great Depression and preparing for the looming pressures of global conflict. The coin thus occupies an intermediary era, after the worst of the 1930s economic collapse, but before the wartime constraints on copper would force changes in coinage. In that sense, it is one of the standard workhorse cents of its era, a mass-circulated piece that connected everyday Americans to their government, the economy, and the changing times. Its ubiquity at the time makes surviving worn examples an echo of ordinary circulation, while the rarer high-grade survivors reflect the ambitions of elite collectors. In design and composition, this 1940 no-mint mark penny shares the hallmark traits of the wheat cent series. On the obverse, Lincoln's bust faces right, with the inscription "In God We Trust" arching overhead, Liberty to his left, and the date 1940 at his right. Because this is a Philadelphia issue, no mint mark appears beneath the date. The reverse displays in the center, 1 cent over United States of America, with EPLURIBUSUNUM above, all flanked on each side by stylized wheat ears, hence wheat penny. The coin's physical specifications are typical: 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, weight G, diameter ~19. In pristine condition, the surfaces would be smooth and lustrous, with sharp detail in Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks. But in a very dirty, damaged specimen, those fine lines are likely shattered, rubbed flat, and filled with corrosion, obscuring much of the artistry. Some rare varieties, e.g., L on rim error, have drawn collector attention. For example, a Philadelphia 1940 no-mint mark rim error has been quoted in listings at $500. The 1940 no-mint mark is not rare in original mintage. Over 500 million were made. What gives any example of its special interest is survival, i.e. how many survived in collector-worthy form, and distinctive variation or error. Most of the surviving coins are heavily worn, cleaned, scratched, or corroded, especially those that spent decades in pockets and tills. Thus, finding even a modestly clean circulated example is not trivial. Finding one in high grade is exceedingly rare. In extremely dirty or damaged condition, the coin's utility to collectors is severely limited, often seen only as a filler or educational piece unless a rare error is present. Collector demand for such low-grade examples is minimal, and their value is typically near the base, circulated common levels, unless they hide a die error or unusual striking anomaly under the grime. The value of a 1940 no-mint mark can escalate dramatically. In circulated condition, most examples are worth only modest sums, typically in the 5 cents to 50 cents range, depending on how badly worn they are. In uncirculated and high-grade states, the premiums climb steeply. Red RD designation specimens in top grade can fetch into the hundreds of dollars. In extreme cases, auction records show Philadelphia 1940 red MS68 hitting. Some error variants, rim or doubling or rare, L on rim listings have been offered in the $300-700 range, even in less than ideal condition. So while a perfect specimen might command thousands, most serious value lies in the quality of strike, preservation of original luster, and presence of desirable anomalies. From time to time, niche examples with visible errors in very low grade may hammer for a few $100s in specialized auctions, but these are exceptions, not the rule. What about your extremely dirty, damaged example? In most conventional coin markets, such a specimen will command only a fraction of the value of cleaner counterparts. Many dealers and collectors will classify it as a low-grade common and offer somewhere between 10 cents and a few dollars depending on how legible the date and design elements remain. A Just Answer appraisal noted that a 1940 Philadelphia no-mint mark in circulated condition might sell between 20 cents and 40 cents. That said, occasionally a very low-grade coin with an undiagnosed error, for example, die doubling, rim misalignment, or striking anomaly, might attract a niche buyer who sees potential under the grime. Some error listings of 1940 no-mint examples with rim or strike anomalies have been offered, though often unverified, in the $100–500 range. But such offers should be treated cautiously, often speculative. In short, in its present battered state, your coin is more valued for its story and teaching potential than for raw market worth, unless an error lurks beneath, in which case a professional cleaning and grading reveal might help recover surprising hidden value. The 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny in dirty, damaged condition may not currently command high prices. It still embodies an intriguing case study in long-term numismatic trends. The Lincoln Cent series has proven one of the most enduring and widely collected series in U.S. history, meaning even low-value pieces remain relevant to new collectors and educational exhibits. Over the decades, the steady appreciation of top-grade and rarer examples has cast a halo effect over the entire date run, subtly increasing interest even in low-grade pieces. Many collectors, especially beginners, start with humble coins like a battered 1940 cent and later graduate to uncirculated specimens. This gateway role gives even damaged coins a modest, enduring utility in the hobby. Should public interest in pre-1982 copper cents rise further, particularly as copper content and nostalgia for historic coinage grow, even common, low-grade issues could experience small upward shifts in value, especially in bulk lots, or as part of educational displays. The 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny holds symbolic weight as a marker of resilience, minted in an era of economic recovery and looming war. It circulated through countless hands at a time when every cent mattered. In its current state, chipped and obscured by time, it serves as a tactile reminder of how American coinage was not just a medium of exchange, but also a reflection of the nation's ideals, with Lincoln's image and the wheat motif echoing themes of unity and prosperity. Even stripped of its original luster, the coin retains that story in its metal. For collectors who value history as much as price tags, such a piece represents more than a filler. It's a conversation starter and a teaching tool about the lives, struggles, and hopes of the people who once spent it. In this way, the 1940 no-mint mark Lincoln Wheat penny in damaged condition remains a captivating artifact of numismatic and social history, reinforcing why so many enthusiasts still cherish it despite its modest monetary worth. In the panorama of Lincoln Wheat cents, a 1940 no-mint mark in pristine red luster is a dazzling prize. But even in extremely dirty and damaged form, the coin retains a kind of rugged charm, a witness to decades of circulation, wear, and survival. It offers a tangible connection to the past, where everyday Americans spent these very cents. Its ultimate value in such a degraded condition is unlikely to be high, unless an exceptional variety or error lies hidden beneath the grime. Nevertheless, for the dedicated numismatist, the coin remains a prized treasure, a teaching piece, and a reminder that even the humblest cent can harbor surprises. If you treat it carefully, do some research for hidden anomalies, and store it properly, it can still be a rewarding, if modest, addition to a collection, especially for those drawn to the full life cycle of American coinage. Next up, in the 1942 Lincoln Wheat penny struck in Philadelphia, no D or S mint mark, may at first glance appear unremarkable. Yet among coin collectors it is a fascinating and occasionally coveted artifact, a tangible connection to America's past. Even in very dirty or damaged condition, it captures the attention of specialized collectors who appreciate its historical context, its role in the final years of copper coinage before wartime changes, and its potential as a gateway collectible. Though it will never rival gem specimens, a severely worn, corroded, or otherwise blemished 1942 no-mint mark penny remains a piece of the narrative, an echo of circulation, survival, and the passage of time. In 1942, The United States was entrenched in World War II, and the pressure on strategic metals was rising. The U.S. Mint continued producing the Lincoln wheat penny in its traditional bronze composition, 95% copper, 5% tin and zinc, during that year, unlike the switch to steel that would come in 1943. The 1942 Philadelphia issue, no mint mark, was the dominant mintage among the three mint-striking pennies that year: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coin sits at a crossroads of American numismatic history. It is among the last ordinary copper pennies minted before wartime exigencies forced material changes. As such, it embodies a subtle yet meaningful historical shift. Collectors prize it not because every example is spectacular, but because it represents a pivotal era when the coinage itself was caught up in broader national priorities. The design on this penny is classic and enduring. On the obverse, Lincoln's bust in profile faces right, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" arching above the head, the date 1942 to his right, and "Liberty" to his left. There is no mint mark under the date. This absence signals its Philadelphia origin. On the reverse, you find the twin wheat ears standing along the left and right edges, flanking the central 1 cent, and beneath EPLURIBUSUNUM. Below the denomination is United States of America. The coin is 19.05 min diameter, weighs approximately 3.11 g, and originally had a smooth, plain edge. In well-preserved examples, the design is crisp and elegant. The contrast between the fields and devices can be quite striking. Though our battered example may show heavy wear, surface damage, corrosion, and loss of detail, the underlying artistry remains, and for many collectors that is part of its charm. The 1942 no mint mark penny is moderately scarce, but not extremely rare. Its survival in top condition is challenged by decades of circulation, oxidation, and mishandling. What truly elevates a specimen's desirability is dramatic condition, deep red original luster, sharp strike, minimal contact marks. But in the realm of very dirty and damaged coins, you typically find many, yet only a few with collectible appeal. The rarity of a severely damaged example lies not in its scarcity, but in how well it still conveys recognizable details despite the abuse. For a numismatist who collects problem coins, a 1942 penny so battered that only faint outlines of Lincoln or the wheat ears survive might still draw interest, but only at a modest premium over face or metal value. Because condition is king, most serious collectors steer clear of heavily deteriorated pieces unless they carry a unique variety or error, such as doubling, repunched mint marks, or die shifts, that can still be discerned despite the damage. In pristine, high-grade condition, a 1942 no mint mark wheat penny may command substantial sums. Some sources list superb gem examples in the realm of $1,000 to $8,000 plus, depending on color, red-brown, and market demand. Records show that well-graded, red specimens from this date can fetch four-figure prices. But for a coin that is very dirty and heavily damaged, the realistic value is drastically lower. In such condition, its premium is marginal, perhaps a few dollars to low tens of dollars above scrap or face value, depending on whether any discernible variety remains. In fact, many listings of circulated 1942 no mint mark pennies in underwhelming condition show prices between 20 cents to a few dollars. Occasionally, a rough example with an error, say, a tilted reverse or an L on rim strike anomaly, might push value upward into the low hundreds if the anomaly is clearly visible despite damage. An example advertised as a rare no mint mark L on rim error fetched around $1,999 in a listing, though condition was unspecified. But that is the exception, not the rule. The market for severely damaged pennies is severely limited, and buyers price down heavily for corrosion, holes, cleaning marks, bends, or loss of detail. If you own or hope to acquire such a damaged coin, keep a few principles in mind. First, Certification matters. If any variety or error is suspected, have a grading service inspect and authenticate it even if the coin is rough. A coin certified with a known variety will always command more interest than an uncertified battered piece. Second, look for detectable varieties. Even in damage, you might discern doubling in liberty or a tucked or slipped die on the wheat ears. That might elevate interest. Third, always buy from reputable dealers or auction houses who allow returns or supply good photos and provenance. Fourth, store it carefully in inert, protective holders, mylar flips, coin capsules, to prevent further deterioration, never handled directly. Fifth, engage with collector communities, online forums, coin clubs, specialty wheat penny groups, to stay abreast of market trends and to compare notes on damaged or error specimens. Over time, you may spot comparative examples that inform pricing. Though a very dirty and badly damaged 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is far from the crown jewel of any collection, it is nevertheless a prized treasure for the right kind of enthusiast, a piece that combines history, artistry, and survival against the odds. Its place in the story of American coinage endows it with an enduring charm. Even in poor condition, it offers a tangible connection to the past, a battered witness to decades of circulation, chain, and endurance. And should you ever acquire a better version later, having held this rough, one can deepen your appreciation for the gradations of condition that fuel numismatic passion. For collectors building a narrative-driven portfolio, this coin can be a modest yet meaningful addition, a reminder that beauty and value in coins are often born from the interaction of rarity, history, and human hands over time. The 1942 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny carries a legacy that continues to resonate with collectors today. It stands as a living artifact of America's home front economy during the Second World War, an era when every ounce of copper was precious, and yet the mint persisted with traditional compositions for just one more year before radical change. This gives the coin a story larger than itself, transforming even a damaged example into a miniature historical document. Enthusiasts who treasure such pieces are often drawn not only to their numismatic attributes, but also to the sense of continuity they embody, a direct link from wartime America to our own pockets and collections. In this way, the 1942 penny transcends its humble denomination, inviting collectors to look past surface imperfections and to appreciate the journey each coin has taken, a journey that turns a simple cent into a fragment of national memory and a subtle but enduring investment in history. Next up to in the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny is a fascinating and highly sought-after piece in numismatics. Even in very dirty or damaged condition, this coin still holds a powerful appeal to collectors because it is more than just a 1-cent piece. It is a tangible connection to a pivotal moment in U.S. history, the wartime era, and to the operations of the Denver Mint. It captivates enthusiasts who enjoy the challenge of identifying varieties, spotting mint mark errors, or owning a piece with heavy character. Even when worn, scarred, or otherwise impaired, it is far from worthless. It is a prized treasure for someone who values history, rarity, and the story behind what coinage survives under adverse conditions. The year 1944 falls toward the end of World War II, a time when materials and industry in the U.S. were under strain, and when the mint had just returned to copper-based alloy for pennies after having used steel planchets in 1943. The D mint mark indicates the Denver Mint, one of 3 main U.S. mints producing Lincoln cents in 1944, the others being Philadelphia, no mint mark, and San Francisco S. Denver minted enormous quantities, especially in the standard bronze, copper, zinc, tin alloy, but also accidentally produced steel wheat pennies, rare off-metal strikings, when steel blanks remained from wartime operations. The 1944 D thus has its regular issue, but also sits close to one of numismatics' most compelling errors varieties. As such, It is both common in its base form and rare in certain specific conditions or varieties, making it a coin with dual identity, ordinary and potential extraordinary. In its normal issue, the 1944 D wheat penny is made of bronze, about 95% copper, the rest being tin and zinc, with a plain smooth edge, weighing roughly 3.11 grams, diameter ~1905. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right, with "In God We Trust" above, Liberty to the left, and the date 1944 to the right, with a small D mint mark under or beside the date, depending on die. The reverse shows the classic wheat ears design, 2 stalks of wheat framing the denomination, with 1 cent and United States of America, and EPLURIBUS UNUM above. In high grade, the detail in Lincoln's hair, the folds of his coat, the strands of the wheat ears, rim and fields will be sharp. The steel variety of 1944 D off-metal error is one such, and also mint mark errors like the D over S over punched mint marks. Damage or heavy wear tends to obliterate fine detail, but sometimes coins survive with enough identifiable features, die cracks, mint mark anomalies, remnants of luster, that even dirty damaged coins attract interest for the variety hunter. For the regular bronze 1944 D, the coin is not particularly rare. Large numbers were minted and circulated, so many survive. What is rare are high-grade, virtually uncirculated, or error variety versions, especially the steel off-metal ones. When a 1944 D is very dirty or badly damaged, condition problems, surface corrosion, scratches, pitting, loss of detail, etc., drastically reduce the grade. Collectors and graders assign much lower grades to such coins: good, very good, fine, etc. However, even in damaged condition, coins can be valuable if they are of a rare variety, steel, DS error, etc., or if they are one of the few survivors with something distinctive. The steel 1944 D variety is extremely rare. Only a handful of authenticated specimens exist. Every such off-metal steel piece, even if dirty or damaged, is prized. But for a standard bronze 1944 D in heavily circulated damaged state, rarity is low. Many examples exist, and the value tends to stay near common circs, unless condition or variety pushes upward. If you have a very dirty, damaged 1944 D bronze wheat penny, ordinary type, no rare variety, its value will generally be modest, based on value charts. In heavily worn/damaged condition, perhaps 20 cents to a few dollars, USD. If there's moderate damage but still identifiable and with good eye appeal, maybe $2.10 or slightly more, depending on how recognizable the features still are. If it is one of the rare steel variety from Denver, 1944 D steel, even dirty or damaged, it might still be worth tens of thousands of dollars because there are so few examples. For example, USA Coin Book lists the 1944 D steel variety in average condition at about $36,858, and in uncirculated condition even more. If the coin is a variation like D over S mint mark in bronze, even in damaged condition that limits the value, one might still expect dozens to a few $100s, depending on damage severity. For example, the DS variety of the 1944 D in average condition is valued around $86 and can increase to $550, $850 plus in MS plus grades. Ordinary damaged bronze equals low value. Rare steel or mint mark error equals high value, even in rough shape. To understand the upside and why collectors chase this coin, you need contrast with what the best examples fetch. A 1944 D steel wheat penny in very good shape, though clean, well preserved, can sell for $60,000 plus depending on grading and provenance. The 1944 D steel in uncirculated, MS, condition or near mint has even higher potential, particularly if certified by PCGS or NGC. Regular bronze 1944D coins in MS plus red RD. Condition might go for several tens or low hundreds of dollars, depending on grade, color, mint mark clarity, etc. For example, uncirculated bronze 1944D, red or red-brown, may fetch $20 50 plus or more depending on the coin population and desirability. Collectors pay premiums for provenance, certification, and striking quality. A pristine specimen holds far more value than a common one. Even with a dirty or damaged 1944D, collectors can do well by paying attention. First, identify whether it's bronze or steel. If it's steel and genuine, you might hold one of very few. Use a magnet test, examine color and rust, or better, have an expert verify. Look for mint mark and mint mark errors. D over S or other overpunched mint marks make such coins more valuable, even if condition is poor. Check for die varieties, potential doubling, mint mark transitions, or anomalies in lettering. These can add a premium. Purchase from reputable sources, dealers or auction houses that guarantee authenticity, especially for steel variety or error coins. Counterfeits or cleaned restored pieces are a risk. Storage matters even for dirty coins. Keep in protective holders. Avoid further corrosion or damage. Gentle cleaning only if absolutely necessary. But many collectors prefer, as is, if it helps prove age. Grading/certification when possible. Even with damage, getting the coin graded by a recognized service, NGC/PCGS, helps confirm authenticity and variety, which can help if you wish to sell later. Study auction records and value guides. It helps to see what similar condition coins have actually sold for, particularly for the steel variety or errors. The 1944D Lincoln wheat penny is much more than a common cent. It stands at a crossroads of history, artistry, and rarity. Even in very dirty or battered condition, it holds value, especially if it happens to be a rare steel error or a mint mark variety. Its standard bronze version is affordable and widely available. The extraordinary versions elevate this coin into prized treasure status. For any collector who values story and scarcity more than perfect appearance, owning a 1944D, especially a steel one or error version, is deeply rewarding. It is both a physical artifact from WWII-era America and a challenge to preserve and identify. For numismatists worldwide, it represents a strong investment not only in potential monetary return, but in the joy of discovery and the connection to the past. If you can get one with a story, even with damage, it's worth pursuing. Next up to in the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, and especially one that is very dirty or damaged, is a fascinating and highly sought-after piece in numismatics. Even though most examples are fairly worn or show damage, this coin retains a special allure. Its appeal is twofold. First, as a connection to mid-20th century America, and second, as a piece that, despite its condition, carries both historical significance and potential for intrigue among collectors. Dirty or damaged specimens may not command top dollar, but they are prized treasures in their own way, affording collectors the chance to own a tangible remnant of history without the prohibitive cost of a perfect specimen. Even in poor condition, a 1945 no mint mark wheat penny draws attention because of its place in the Lincoln wheat series, its copper content, and the stories its wear and damage can tell. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, with Victor D. Brenner's classical bust on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. By 1945, the United States was just emerging from World War II, and the economy, materials, and minting processes had all been affected by wartime demands. The Philadelphia Mint, which produced the no mint mark variety, was responsible for the bulk of circulation pennies in that year. There was no special commemoration in 1945 beyond the regular Lincoln cent design, but the broader cultural context, wartime scarcity, post-war optimism, and the changing face of America, imbues coins from this period with additional resonance. For a collector, owning one of these coins, even if battered, is like holding a piece of the mid-1940s. Every scratch or discoloration is a small witness to the journey from mint to pocket, to change jar, to whatever hands it has passed through. The 1945 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny is made of an alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, standard for pennies from that period. It weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 with a plain edge. On the obverse is Abraham Lincoln's bust facing right, the legend "In God W.E. Trust" above, the date 1945 to the right, and Liberty to the left. Because it is from Philadelphia, there is no mint mark under the date. On the reverse side, it features two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent in the center, United States of America above, and EPLURIBUSUNUM below. In high-grade specimens, the relief, sharpness of the wheat stalks and clarity of Lincoln's hair detail can be quite beautiful. In perfect, or near-perfect, uncirculated specimens, the copper still may retain a rich red or reddish-brown toning. Some varieties or error coins, such as ones with the L of Liberty shifted, or die cracks, or double die doubling, are more desirable. But in a very dirty or damaged coin, many of these details are muted or obscured, which affects value but not the sense of character. The 1945 no-mint mark penny is not rare among all 1945 pennies. The Philadelphia output was large. What is rare is finding fine details in harsh condition, because most coins circulated were exposed to dirt, moisture, and abrasive surfaces, or finding an error variety that survived damage. The rarity increases if the coin exhibits a noticeable error, such as a doubling, a misalignment, or an L on the rim, error, even if the rest of the coin is worn or corroded. Extremely clean, high-grade uncirculated coins are scarce. Most people find only heavily circulated examples. For a collector, condition matters enormously. A clean, sharp, no-mint mark specimen in mint state MS will always vastly outprice one in poor shape. But even the dirty or damaged coins have appeal for storytelling, for affordable collecting, or as filler or key sample coins to complete a date set. The damage, scratches, corrosion, toning discolorations, dents, etc. typically drags values down significantly. When in excellent or near mint condition, for example MS65 or higher, 1945 Philadelphia pennies can fetch a few $100s to over $1,000, depending on toning, eye appeal, and if there is a rare variety or error. Some sale records or listings show coins, especially with red or red-brown color, in top grades going for perhaps $1,000 to $6,000 or more when perfect or showing some spectacular error. But in very dirty, damaged condition, scratched, corroded, worn flat, the value is much lower, often just a few dollars or tens of dollars. Collectors might pay $1 to $10 for a heavily worn piece, possibly a bit more if some variety is still identifiable. If the coin also has a scarce error visible even with the damage, for example a double die or distinctive mark, that could raise value perhaps into $50, $150 or more, depending on how visible the error is, how much damage, and the interest of a niche collector. The market shows steady appreciation for clean high-grade coins, but dirty damaged ones generally remain affordable, though interest in error or variety specimens even in bad shape seems to be growing. If you are collecting or trying to buy a 1945 no-mint mark penny, even one in poor condition, there are several strategies to consider. First, always try to get something certified by PCGS, NGC, ANACS, etc. if it is going to cost you more than a modest sum, especially if you believe there is a variety error. Certifications help avoid fakes or misattributed coins. Second, inspect for any variety or error that may be visible despite the damage, such as doubling, shifts, cracks, or L on rim errors. Even in dirty coins, sometimes relief lines or lettering will partially survive and point to something special. Third, buy from reputable dealers or well-run auctions. Avoid those that exaggerate condition or error claims. Fourth, store whatever coins you have properly. Even damaged coins benefit from being in a sealed holder to prevent further corrosion. Avoid touching with bare hands. Lastly, engage with collector forums or numismatic groups. Sometimes someone will pay a premium for a coin with a certain error even in bad shape, and you can learn what collectors are currently looking for. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark, even in very dirty or damaged condition, remains a prized treasure for many coin collectors. It is a blend of history, artistry, and everyday rarity, a coin that connects us to the Philadelphia Mint's output immediately after World War II, carrying ever so slightly the echoes of that era in its copper and its wear. While the worst condition pieces are not high-dollar items, their significance lies in their accessibility and their capacity to round out a date set, or preserve a variation or error for future generations. For the enthusiast or budding collector, chasing one of these coins is deeply rewarding. You may not pay a fortune, but you gain a piece of time. Whether as display, study, or simply joy of ownership, this coin's appeal will endure among numismatists worldwide, and its lasting value lies not only in dollars, but in history. The 1945 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in very dirty and damaged condition also serves as a remarkable teaching tool for both novice and seasoned collectors. It allows enthusiasts to study how circulation, environmental factors, and time affect copper coins, showing patterns of wear, tunning, and corrosion that tell the story of a coin's life in commerce. In this sense, even a battered specimen has educational and sentimental value, illustrating the resilience of the design and the legacy of Lincoln's portrait. Many collectors cherish such pieces as story coins, using them to introduce younger generations to numismatics without fear of handling or damage, while still holding on to a tangible piece of 1940s American history. This combination of affordability, accessibility, and historical narrative makes even a low-grade example an underrated yet meaningful addition to a wheat penny collection, emphasizing that value in numismatics is not solely measured by price tags, but by the depth of connection and learning it provides. Many collectors see the 1945 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny not simply as a coin, but as a compact time capsule from a pivotal moment in U.S. history. Minted as the nation was transitioning from wartime production back to civilian prosperity, this penny embodies a tangible piece of that era. Even in very dirty or damaged condition, the coin still reflects the skill of the mint engravers and the continuity of Brenner's original design, which had already become an American icon by the mid-1940s. It is this historical continuity, Lincoln's steadfast image during times of national change, that gives even worn examples an aura of dignity and relevance. Owning such a piece lets collectors hold a fragment of post-war optimism and the everyday economy that powered America's recovery. Another element that makes the 1945 no mint mark penny appealing in any state of preservation is its role as a bridge in the Lincoln Cent series. It connects the wartime steel cents of 1943 and the transitional coppers of 1944 back to the familiar bronze alloy that would continue until the 1980s. This transition period fascinates numismatists because it shows how material science and minting policy respond to national needs. A dirty, damaged 1945 penny may bear the marks of decades of circulation, but it also represents a return to the classic copper composition after the steel cent experiment. That composition, along with its wheat reverse, is part of what gives the coin its traditional appearance and sense of authenticity. The educational value of such a coin cannot be overstated. Beginners often start their collections with circulated, affordable pieces like the 1945 no mint mark penny. They learn to identify dates, mint marks, and varieties, and they discover how to evaluate a coin's grade. Even when a coin is corroded or grimy, a careful look under magnification can reveal subtle design details, like Lincoln's hair curls, wheat stalk lines, or traces of doubling, that make the hunt exciting. For seasoned collectors, damaged coins can serve as reference or study pieces, showing how certain die states, cracks, or errors look after long wear, which can help them recognize rare attributes on higher-grade examples. From an investment perspective, while a dirty or damaged 1945 penny is unlikely to see major appreciation on its own, it can still play a role in building a complete collection that adds up to greater value. Many numismatists assemble full date and mint mark sets of Lincoln wheat cents, and having a placeholder coin, even in low grade, keeps the set visually and historically complete until a better example can be acquired. This approach is common among collectors on a budget and allows them to participate in the hobby while slowly upgrading. Over time, upgrading from a dirty coin to a certified high-grade specimen can dramatically increase a set's overall worth, and the initial low-grade piece can be passed on to another collector just starting out. Finally, the 1945 no-mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in poor condition embodies one of the greatest charms of coin collecting: accessibility. Not every collectible has to be pristine or prohibitively expensive to be meaningful. This penny proves that a common coin with heavy wear can still offer a direct link to America's mid-20th century history, artistic tradition, and economic life. It invites both curiosity and respect, reminding collectors that every coin, regardless of condition, once served a purpose and passed through countless hands. This democratic nature of numismatics, where even a damaged 1-cent piece can be a prized treasure to someone, is part of what keeps the hobby vibrant and inclusive.